Welcome to our channel. Nickels are easy to overlook, but some carry fascinating stories and rare features that make them highly sought after by collectors. Stick around, and by the end, you might discover that a coin in your pocket could be a hidden treasure. You won't want to miss these rare finds. Let's start today's video with our first coin, and this one is interesting because many people have seen it without realizing anything unusual about it. It's a modern coin, easy to overlook, but certain examples carry details that make them stand out from the rest. The coin is the 2004 P. Lewis and Clark nickel from the Westward Journey series. This series was created to recognize the 200th anniversary of the famous expedition, and because of that, the U.S. Mint redesigned the nickel for the first time in decades. Even though the design change was widely circulated, only a very small portion of the coins gained special attention among collectors. The front features an updated portrait of Thomas Jefferson. The back shows the piece metal design, with two hands meeting as a symbol of cooperation. The design itself is meaningful and visually appealing, but for most people, it was simply another nickel in their pocket or wallet. But coin collectors know that large mintages don't always mean every coin is the same. When a coin is produced in high numbers, some variations can appear naturally. These variations might be small, but when only a few examples display them, they create rarity. That is the case with the 2004 P nickel. During the minting process at the Philadelphia Mint, some coins were struck with a slightly stronger force than usual. This difference in pressure wasn't intentional, but it resulted in a small number of coins having exceptionally sharp details. The handshake on the reverse looked clearer, the small elements in the piece metal design appeared more defined, and the edges of the lettering were cleaner than normal. Collectors began noticing that when placed side by side with a regular 2004 P nickel, these stronger strike coins had a distinct look. They weren't proof coins, but they displayed a clarity uncommon in normal circulation pieces. Over time, these began to attract attention because they were noticeably different once you knew what to look for. Along with the stronger strikes, a few coins showed light doubling. This doubling is subtle and requires a close look, especially around the letters or certain lines within the design. It isn't bold like some of the famous doubled coins of the past, but it is enough to qualify as an error. Error coins of any kind tend to be collected, but modern error coins with clean surfaces and sharp detail get even more attention. Most of the actual 2004 P nickels in circulation today show wear. It has been about 2 decades since the coin was released, so it's normal for them to have scratches, small dents, and surface marks. The coins that matter most to collectors are the ones that avoided all of that. These are the coins that stayed in excellent condition and never entered daily commerce. The grading process becomes important here. When a coin is submitted for grading, experts evaluate every tiny detail. They check the shine, the strike quality, the number of marks, and the overall appearance. Only a very small percentage of 2004 P nickels received the highest grades, such as MS66 and MS67. At these levels, the coin must show almost no flaws, something that is difficult for a modern circulation coin. Because the number of high-grade examples is so limited, collectors who build complete sets often try to secure one of the best possible versions. That is where competition comes in. When only a handful of coins exist in top condition, collectors willing to upgrade their sets push values higher. Over the years, as more people have learned about the sharper strike coins and the lightly doubled examples, awareness has grown. Many collectors now look more closely at their 2004 nickels, checking for stronger detail or cleaner fields. But even with all that searching, the truly exceptional pieces remain rare. The market for modern nickels has slowly expanded as more people become interested in varieties and minting differences. This coin gained attention gradually, not suddenly. Prices increased step by step as collectors realized that the highest graded examples were simply not showing up often. What makes this coin even more interesting is how unexpected its value is. A nickel from 2004 doesn't sound like something that would draw heavy bidding, but when rarity, error, and condition come together, collectors treat it with the same seriousness as older coins. The fact that it is modern actually encourages more people to search for it, because it feels accessible. Sharpness of detail plays a major role. Coins with deeper design lines, stronger edges, and smooth surfaces have consistently brought higher results at auctions. Some examples appear almost untouched, with clear texture in the piece metal design and very little disruption to the metal. These details show the difference between an ordinary strike and a premium quality example. The limited number of known top-grade coins makes them even more appealing. A few of these coins have been documented as some of the best preserved, and each time one appears at auction, it attracts collectors who have been waiting for a chance to own one. Because they appear so rarely, each sale becomes notable. As more collectors enter the hobby and more people search their coins, the supply of high-end pieces remains unchanged. Most of the rare coins are already in collections, and finding a new one in a bank roll or old storage box is extremely unlikely. This stability helps maintain strong demand for the few existing high-grade coins. Now, after considering the stronger strikes, the low number of high-grade examples, the light doubling found on some pieces, and the increased collector interest over time, we come to the final part. All of these factors have contributed to the rising value of the best-known examples of the 2004 P. Lewis and Clark nickel. And one of the highest-graded coins, preserved with exceptional clarity and condition, has reached a market value far above what anyone would expect from a modern 5-cent piece. The top-level example of this coin has sold for $41,000. Next up, we have a coin that many people have handled without ever thinking twice about it. It's the 1994 P. Jefferson Nickel. At first glance, it looks exactly like the kind of coin you might receive in change at a grocery store, something ordinary and easy to overlook. But as collectors studied this year more closely, they realized that not all 1994 nickels are the same. Some carry traits that set them apart in a significant way. The design is familiar. On the front, we see the standard portrait of Thomas Jefferson. On the back, the Monticello building stands in the center, surrounded by the usual inscriptions. This design had been used for decades, and because millions were made in 1994, you'd expect every example to look just like the next. But that isn't the case. Within the large mintage produced at the Philadelphia Mint, a very small number of coins came out with unusual characteristics. These traits weren't planned, but they appeared during the minting process due to pressure differences, die issues, and subtle variations that can happen at high production speeds. Collectors first began noticing that some 1994 P nickels showed stronger than normal strikes. When these coins were compared to regular examples, the difference was clear. The steps on the Monticello building looked sharper. The lines in Jefferson's hair appeared more defined. Even the lettering around the edge had a cleaner appearance. These stronger strike versions are far from common and are often identified only when someone takes the time to look carefully. In addition to strike differences, a small number of coins show signs of doubling. This doubling can appear on the reverse, particularly around the words Monticello and 5 cents. It isn't dramatic, but it's visible enough for collectors to categorize it as a true error. Any confirmed doubling on a modern nickel adds a layer of interest, because such errors don't appear in large numbers. Another factor that greatly affects value is condition. Most 1994 P nickels have been circulating for more than 30 years, and they show the expected signs of age. Small scratches, worn surfaces, and contact marks from everyday use are extremely common. Only a very tiny group of coins avoided circulation entirely. Those are the ones that remained crisp, bright, and clean, perfect candidates for higher grades. Grading companies examine these coins in detail. They look for surface quality, strike sharpness, and the number of imperfections visible under magnification. Reaching the highest grades requires almost flawless surfaces, which is incredibly rare for a coin intended for everyday use. Because of this, only a handful of 1994 P nickels have achieved grades high enough to attract serious collector attention. Once collectors recognized that the top-grade examples were rare, interest in this coin increased. Jefferson nickel specialists, in particular, began watching auctions closely, waiting for these upper-level coins to appear. With so few known examples in the high mint state range, competition among collectors naturally pushed prices upward. Over time, these standout pieces earned a reputation for being surprisingly difficult to locate. Even rolls of unopened bank-wrapped nickels from the 1990s rarely yield coins good enough to reach top grades. This limited supply, combined with increasing collector demand, made the best examples much more valuable than anyone expected when the coin was first minted. Many collectors point out that nickels from the 1990s do not often produce high-end specimens because the minting equipment at the time focused heavily on speed, not precision. This makes sharp, clean examples much harder to find. The few coins that show exceptional surfaces are considered lucky survivors of a high-speed production era. As more hobbyists began searching through old collections, coin jars, and roll boxes, only a small number of strong candidates for grading emerged. This confirmed what specialists already believed, that the population of top-grade coins from 1994 is firmly limited. Auction records show that the most impressive pieces consistently outperform expectations. When a high-grade example appears, it draws attention because collectors know how rarely these coins show up. Strong surfaces, sharp design details, and clean fields all play major roles in building value. One of the finest known examples of the 1994 Jefferson Nickel managed to reach a level that placed it among the most valuable modern nickels ever recorded. This particular coin displayed exceptional detail, outstanding preservation, and a level of clarity rarely seen on any mid-1990s nickel. Collectors often mention that coins like this remind them how unpredictable the hobby can be. Something that appears completely average can turn out to be a top-tier rarity once it's examined more closely. It also shows that even coins from the 1990s still have hidden potential, especially when preserved well. Many collectors now double-check their older nickels because discoveries like this prove that surprises still exist. And every new find encourages more people to take a closer look at the coins they already own. And that brings us to the final reveal. The highest quality known example of the 1994 Jefferson Nickel sold for an impressive $58,000. Finds like this show that even modern coins can surprise collectors. It's always a good idea to keep an eye on your change. You never know what might be sitting quietly in a jar or a drawer. The next coin on our list is the 1988 Jefferson Nickel. At first glance, it looks like any other nickel from the late 1980s, something people handle daily, often without thinking twice. But upon closer inspection, collectors have discovered that some coins from this year have features that make them exceptionally rare and desirable. The design itself is familiar. Jefferson's portrait graces the front, with his calm, composed profile. On the back, Monticello stands as a centerpiece, just as it has for generations. The design didn't change in 1988, and millions of coins were produced, so most people naturally assumed that all 1988 nickels look the same. However, the minting process can produce subtle differences, even in high-volume years. A small number of 1988 nickels were struck in such a way that the details are sharper and more defined than the average coin. These differences might be subtle, but they are enough for a trained eye to recognize. One of the most noticeable traits of these high-quality coins is the strength of the strike. Jefferson's hairlines are more distinct, his facial features are clearer, and his collar has a sharper appearance. On the reverse, Monticello shows more defined steps, and the edges of the building's lines appear precise and crisp. Even the lettering along the rim seems cleaner and more prominent. These qualities make these coins stand out from the millions of ordinary circulation examples. Some of these coins also show slight doubling on the reverse. It's not a dramatic error, but very light doubling is visible on lettering such as Monticello or 5 cents. Even minor doubling increases a coin's appeal because error coins from this year are quite rare. Condition is equally critical. Most 1988 nickels show wear from decades of circulation. Surface marks, scratches, and dulling are extremely common. Finding a coin that has avoided all of this wear is unusual. Coins that retain their original luster, with smooth fields and clean edges, are far more valuable than those with typical circulation marks. High-grade examples from 1988 are extremely limited. Only a small number of coins have survived with top-level detail and near-perfect surfaces. These coins are so rare that collectors who focus on Jefferson Nickels pay close attention whenever one is offered or comes up for sale. What makes this coin particularly interesting is how it defies expectations. Many people assume that modern coins, especially from the 1980s, have little value beyond face. But a coin with exceptional strike quality, minimal wear, and a small minting error can be extremely desirable, sometimes commanding prices far beyond what people would imagine for a 5-cent piece. Even though millions of nickels were made in 1988, the highest quality examples are very scarce. Over the years, collectors have carefully preserved these coins, and only a few remain in pristine condition. This scarcity is a big factor in why the coin's value has grown steadily over time. Some of these coins have surfaces that almost look untouched, with a shine that reflects light evenly across the design. The texture of Jefferson's hair and the fine lines on Monticello appear as if they were just struck yesterday. Finding coins like this from 1988 is extremely rare because most entered circulation quickly and accumulated wear. Because of these factors, sharp strike, light doubling, and top preservation, this coin has become one of the most sought-after Jefferson nickels from the modern era. Even casual collectors who thought they had nothing special in their drawers now inspect 1988 nickels more closely, looking for these qualities. The impact of scarcity is clear. Only a handful of collectors ever have access to these premium examples at any given time, making them highly desirable to those trying to complete a collection of Jefferson nickels in superior condition. Another interesting aspect is how small details make a huge difference. Slight variations in the minting process, tiny differences in the metal flow, and even the way the coin was struck can set one example apart from thousands of others. It's these small, almost invisible traits that can create major value. Collectors also note that patience plays a key role. Coins like this often remain unnoticed for years, and only those who consistently study, compare, and handle coins can identify the rare examples. This element of discovery adds an extra layer of fascination to the hobby. For many, the journey of finding a top-grade 1988 P nickel is just as rewarding as the coin's value. The excitement comes from careful examination and recognizing that a seemingly ordinary coin could be extraordinary. And now for the final reveal. While most people expect a modern nickel to be worth only its face value, the highest quality 1988 P Jefferson nickel achieved a remarkable valuation. This coin, preserved with near-perfect surfaces, sharp details, and light doubling, is now valued at $60,000. This example is a reminder that even seemingly ordinary coins from the past few decades can hold significant surprises. Careful inspection, patience, and knowledge of minting differences can turn an everyday coin into a prized collectible. For collectors, the lesson is clear: never underestimate the potential of modern coins. A coin from the late 1980s may look common, but hidden details can create remarkable value. And for anyone holding on to coins in jars, drawers, or old collections, this nickel proves that treasures can sometimes be found in the most familiar places. Now let's move on to a coin that at first glance may seem completely ordinary, yet it holds a hidden story for those who know where to look. It's the 2016 P. Jefferson Nickel, a coin most people have handled countless times in daily transactions, often without giving it a second thought. But some of these nickels are far from ordinary. On the surface, this coin looks like any other from 2016. Jefferson's calm, familiar portrait graces the front, and Monticello sits steadily on the back, just as it has for decades. Millions of these coins were produced, so the assumption is that all 2016 nickels are identical. However, subtle differences in the minting process have created rare examples that collectors find highly interesting. These differences are often referred to as mint errors. They might be very small, almost invisible to the untrained eye, yet they can make a coin stand out significantly. Some 2016 P nickels display doubled lettering, minor die clashes, or unusual variations in the design. These are not flaws in the coin in the traditional sense, they are unique characteristics that occurred during production and were never intended by the mint. Even tiny errors can elevate a coin from a regular circulation piece to a collector's item. In some cases, the doubling appears on the lettering of Monticello, or 5 cents, while in others, faint doubling may be seen around the date or mint mark. Though subtle, these variations are enough for collectors to recognize the coin as a distinct example. The condition of the coin is just as critical as the error itself. Coins that are crisp, shiny, and free from scratches or wear are far more appealing than those that have been handled or circulated. Many 2016 nickels have been in pockets, wallets, and cash registers for years, resulting in surface marks, small nicks, or dulling. But a coin that has been preserved in nearly mint condition can be incredibly valuable, especially if it also contains one of these rare minting errors. One of the most interesting things about modern error coins like the 2016 P nickel is that they are sometimes overlooked. Many collectors focus on older coins, assuming they have greater value. But in reality, coins from recent years often contain rare mistakes that are unnoticed simply because people assume modern coins are common. This makes discovering a high-quality 2016 P nickel error a rewarding experience. Even among these modern examples, some coins are particularly striking. A nickel with a strong strike, fully defined details, and minimal imperfections immediately attracts attention. The hairlines on Jefferson's portrait may appear more prominent, the Monticello steps may stand out more sharply, and the letters around the edges may be clearer than usual. When these features coincide with a minting error, the coin becomes a collectible worth noting. Collectors also look at subtle production anomalies, such as tiny die cracks or faint doubling that doesn't appear in the majority of coins. While these are minor, they provide confirmation that the coin is part of a rare subset, which can greatly increase its desirability. Even though the error might seem minor, its rarity adds significant interest for someone building a Jefferson nickel collection. For many collectors, the thrill is in the hunt. It's not just about owning a coin that looks perfect, it's about spotting a hidden variation that very few people have noticed. A 2016 P nickel that has avoided circulation damage and shows one of these errors can be considered a modern rarity, a coin that could easily stand out in a collection. It's worth noting that not all errors are easy to spot. Some require careful examination under good lighting, sometimes with magnification. This means that ordinary pocket change could contain a valuable coin without anyone realizing it. A nickel that has been sitting in a drawer or coin jar for years may hold a hidden surprise. The 2016 P nickel error also serves as a reminder of how important coin condition is in today's collecting world. A coin that retains its original luster, with smooth fields and crisp edges, becomes exponentially more attractive to collectors when combined with a minting anomaly. Even though the coin was made for everyday use, careful preservation can turn it into a rare and desirable example. While many people would spend a 2016 P nickel without hesitation, some of these coins are far more valuable than they appear. Their worth comes from the combination of condition, rarity, and the presence of an error that sets them apart from millions of ordinary circulation coins. So, whether you're a casual collector or someone who occasionally checks coins from change, it's worth taking a closer look at your 2016 P nickels. A coin that appears unremarkable at first could actually be part of a rare group that collectors are eager to find. Its value lies in the unique error and pristine condition, making it a coin you won't want to overlook. In short, the 2016 P Jefferson nickel with an error is a valuable coin because of its condition and rarity. A coin that looks ordinary in your pocket might be far more special than you realize. It's a subtle but important reminder to inspect coins carefully before spending them. Even modern coins, made in large quantities, can hold surprises. By paying attention to details, spotting errors, and preserving the best examples, you could be holding something quite significant without knowing it. That small nickel in your hand might just be more important than you think. We hope you enjoyed learning about their history, errors, and the hidden value some of them can hold. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to hit the like button, it really helps us keep bringing you more coin stories and collector tips. And be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. We have plenty more rare and unique coins to explore in upcoming videos.